Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before you answer. When was the last time something actually worked out for you? Not almost, not it go better soon. Actually worked out. A promotion that came true, a business that grew, a plan that didn't collapse 3 steps in. Think about it. Now think about where you are living, when things were last going well, and where you are now. I'm not saying what I am about to say to frighten you. I'm saying it because Morenike wished someone had said it to her before she moved in, before she lost 14 months of her life, and before she looked into the clay pot and saw herself staring back. This is a story about a house, but
Good
really,
afternoon, everyone.
it's a story about what certain places do to people quietly, slowly, without ever touching them. There is this type of compound in Lagos that you already know. You have either lived in one or grew up in one, or your auntie has been stuck in one for 15 years wondering why nothing ever changes. Old building, cheap rent, landlord who is never around, neighbor who have been there so long they have stopped asking questions. The kind of place you moved into temporarily and someone never leave. That was the compound on Alade Street. And in that compound, people weren't just struggling financially. They were shrinking. Their dreams were getting smaller. Their energy was disappearing. Their hunger, the specific Nigeria hunger, the one that wakes you up at 5 a.m. and tells you this year will be different, was fading, and nobody could explain why. Morenike moved in on a Tuesday. 26 years old, new job on the island, first time living completely alone. She was the kind of person who made plans in notebook, 5 years, 10 years plan, saving targets written in red pen with deadlines underlined twice. She had drive, real drive, the kind that survived NYSC and bad bosses, and electricity that comes twice a week. She moved into that compound with 6 months momentum behind her. A promotion she had just earned, a side business she was building, a version of her future that finally felt within reach.
Thank you.
By the time she understood what was happening to her, she had lost 14 months. And most of the momentum was gone. She just didn't know yet. The first person she paid attention to was Shola, 2 rooms down, 23-year-old, the kind of energy that fills a corridor. Loud greeting, quick jokes, football argument at night. He told Nike in their first conversation that he was saving to start an importation business. Had plans, had supplier, had timeline, full ambition. 3 weeks later, the ambition was gone. Not dramatic, not all at once, just quietly missing, like a phone that slowly loses its battery until one day you pick it up and it doesn't turn on. He stopped talking about the business. He stopped greeting people in the morning. He sat in the corridor in the evening and stared at the street the way people stared when they stopped expecting anything from it. Nike told herself he was just going through something. Everyone goes through something. Until she started noticing it wasn't just Shola. The woman in room 4 had been about opening a hair salon. She talked about it constantly. Location scouted, equipment price, name already chosen within a month of Nike moving in. She had stopped mentioning it entirely. When Nike asked about it one afternoon, she looked at her like she'd about to ask something from a different lifetime. That thing, I don't know, just work out. No explanation, no specific reason. Just it didn't work out. The man in room 3 had a contract that was supposed to change everything. He told the whole compound, celebrated with small chops and drinks in the corridor. By the following week, he was quieter than anyone had ever met. Sitting, staring, moving through his days, like a man whose internal clock has slowed to half speed. Nike watched all through this and felt something cold settling in her chest. because she was starting to notice something else, something she didn't want to notice. Her whole notebook hadn't been opened in weeks. At the end of the compound lived an old woman, room 12. Everyone called her Mama. Nobody knew how long she had been there. When Nike asked her neighbors, "That one, the woman was here before me. I moved in 11 years ago." Mama didn't look like someone who had been anywhere for 11 years. She looked strong, alert. Her eyes moved the way sharp people's eyes move. Always taking something in, always calculating. She was kind enough on surface. She greeted people, she gave advice nobody asked for, she occasionally shared food. But something about her made Nike uncomfortable, in a way she couldn't articulate. The way she looked at new tenants, not like she was seeing them, like she was assessing them, like she was checking what they had arrived with. Nike started keeping a list in the same notebook where she used to write her 5 year plan. Name on one side, what they had when they arrived, what they had now. And the day things started changing. Shola, importation business, gone 3 weeks after moving in. Room 4. Salon gone 5 weeks. Room 3. Contract celebration. Energy gone 4 days after celebrating. She looked at the list for a long time. Then she added a column she hadn't planned on adding. What happened to Mama around the same time? Shola's business died. Mama started working without the slight limp Nike had noticed when she first arrived. Room 3 lost its momentum. Mama's eye got sharper, brighter. Nike stared at that column until her eyes blurred. She knew how it sounded. She knew, but the number didn't care how it sounded. The numbers just sat there, waiting for her to accept what they are saying. She tried to shake it off. She went to work. She came home. She told herself she was stressed and seeing patterns in coincidence. But then, she noticed something about herself that could no longer explain why. She had stopped calling her business contacts back. Not because she decided to, she just kept forgetting. And when she remembered, she felt so heavy, so drained that picking up the phone felt like lifting something that weighed more than it should. She had stopped opening her notebook. She had stopped caring about the promotion she had been working towards at her job. She was waking up tired, going to sleep tired, moving through her days like someone wading through waters. And she had been telling herself it was Lagos, that it was work, that everyone felt the same way. But deep down, she knew this wasn't how she felt 6 months ago. This wasn't who she was. Something was wrong. Something was taken from her. And she only began to understand what. The night NEPA took the lights was the night she stopped being able to pretend. Total darkness, complete silence, except for the heat pressing down on everything. Nike laid on the mattress, unable to sleep. And in that silence, she heard it from the end of the corridor. A voice, low, rhythmic, almost like prayer, but not praying. Counting. She moved through the dark corridor slowly. The voice grew clearer. This one, 14 months. The boy in 2. He still has more. The new one is strong. Very strong. Don't rush her. Nike feet stepped moving on their own. The room was lit by a single candle. And in front of Mama was a clay pot. Large, ancient, the kind of object that makes you feel immediately that it has existed longer than the building around it. And inside it, something moved. Shadows, not cast by the candle, moving on their own slowly and whispering. But here is what made Nike's blood go cold. She recognized the voices. One sounded like Shola, That specific laugh, not low and hollow, one sounded like the woman from room 4. That particular way she said, when she was excited about something. One sound like the woman from room 3. They weren't screaming, they weren't in pain. They were just there faint, like recordings of people playing from very far away, like echoes of who they used to be. And Mama was counting them, the way a businesswoman counts assets, calmly, precisely, with deep satisfaction. The floor creaked, everything stopped. The counting, the whispering, the candle flame itself seemed to freeze. And Mama turned her head and looked directly at Nike through the window in the dark. Without surprise. "You have been watching for a while," she said. Not a question. "Come inside." Nike didn't move. I said, "Come inside, my daughter." And something in her leg, something that was no longer fully hers, obeyed. The room smelled like camphor and something older. Mama didn't look at her with anger. She looked at her the way a doctor looks at a patient whose diagnosis they have already written. "You are confused," she said. "You think I am doing something wicked. I am not. I am doing what this compound has always done." She touched the rim of the clay pot gently. When people move in, they bring things with them. Hunger, ambition, potential, energy. This house was built to collect those things, not destroy them. Collect them and redistribute it. She looked at Nike directly. Every compound has a spirit. Every building owns energy. Most people don't pay attention. Here, we simply make it official. Nike's voice came smaller than she intended. "You are taking people's drive, their ambition, their progress." Mama tilted her head. "I am taking their excesses," she simply said. The part they were going to waste anyway. Shola was going to give up that business in 6 months regardless. Fear would have stopped him. I just accelerated it. The woman in room 4 was never going to open that salon. She didn't really believe in herself enough. I simply confirmed what was already true. She leaned forward. "I don't break people. I review them." "And me," Nike whispered. Mama smiled for the first time. Slow, satisfied. You are the most interesting tenant I have had in 20 years. You keep fighting it. Most people don't even notice. They just slow down and blame Lagos. But you," she shook her head almost admiringly. "You keep your eyes open, which means you have more than most, which also means there is more to take." "I want to leave," Nike said. "You can't," Mama said immediately. Nike blinked. "I can." "Of course. But before you go," she lifted the pot slightly. "Look inside first. You deserve to see what you came here with. What you still have left." Nike looked down into the pot. The shadow moved. And one of them stopped and looked up. It had a face, but it was brighter than the others, more divine, still fighting. And it pressed its hand against inside the pot and whispered, "She hasn't taken everything yet, but she will, because you are going to stay, not because of juju, because the rent is cheap and Lagos is hard. You are tired, and this place knows exactly how to use all 3 of those things against you." The next morning, the compound woke up as it always did. Generators, frying oil, children, arguments, life entirely. Morenike sat on the edge of a mattress. She had made a decision that night before. she was going to leave. She was going to pack her things and go. She was so certain. But when she looked around the room, she thought about the rent, how cheap it was, how far her money would have to stretch somewhere else, how tired she was, how Lagos doesn't get easier just because you move. So she told herself, one more month, just one more month to save properly, then I will go. She opened her notebook and stared at it for a long time. Then she closed it and went to make tea. At the end of the corridor, Mama swept the compound floor, slowly, peacefully, looking younger than her age. I want you to think about something before this video ends. Think about where you are living right now. Think about who you were, where you moved in, what you were chasing, what you were building, what you believed was possible. Now, think about where those things are today. Did you slow down because life got hard? Or did the place you are living slowly convince you to stop believing because some environment don't attack you? They don't need to. They just make comfort feel like survival. They make staying feel like wisdom. They make shrinking feel like being realistic. And one day you look up and 5 years have passed and you're still there and the rent is still cheap and something in that building is counting. Not your money, but your years. Check yourself tonight. Not your account balance, your hunger. Is it still there? Or has something been taken from it while you were busy blaming your environment?